What's up? What's up? Hey everyone. I know I'm live a little bit earlier than usual. But yeah, we're getting started at a different time today. I'm looking a little scraggly. I was just outside shoveling some snow. And how much did you sleep? I feel like I got enough sleep. I woke up pretty early though. We had a pretty intense snowstorm that came through. I don't know exactly how many inches we got, but I shoveled our house and cleared the car like 4 times in the last 12 hours. What's up, Delansky? What's up, Cindy? Yeah, I was kind of I didn't expect anyone to be here. I'm surprised y'all are tuning in. But yeah. What's up, Artner? How are you guys doing today? What's up, Popcorn? Junie? Knoxville too. Damn. Got everyone here. Snow is a foreign concept to me. Oh, are you in an area where there is no snow? What's up, Daywalker? Or southeast. So like kind of Florida-ish. Yeah, okay. I used to live in the Pacific Northwest. And snow was a little bit more rare up there too. Kind of like more rain. Yeah, Florida, gotcha. You got snow once every 20 years. Yeah, that I remember when I was living in North Vancouver for a year. There there was snow the one winter I spent there, and everybody was freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god, it's snow!" And I guess it was a similar deal there because they only got snow every 20 years, 15 years, or something like that. But anyways, so quick overview for the stream today. My goal is to wrap up the Inside VIP. The art is done. The track is close to being done. It needs a few final flourishes. So basically my thought was that I'd like to try to see if I can get it to the finish line over the course of the stream. So that means I probably won't be I'm not going to be like creating stuff from scratch. I don't think this stream. I'll just be focusing on the VIP, and it might be kind of like a very granular process, so it won't be particularly exciting. But this is just, I don't know, I just thought it'd be interesting. Most streams I feel like I'm just kind of like sketching a lot of stuff and creating things from scratch. I feel like that's more interesting. But yeah, I think today I want to focus on making sure I get this Inside VIP ready for distro, and yeah, I kind of want to get it out of the way early so I can spend some time with my dad. He's in town visiting. Today is his last day here, so we'll do something for dinner together. Or yeah, still figuring that out. But yeah, and then hopefully I can rest my wrist a little bit too, because I've noticed over the course of the last 2 weeks, some of the symptoms I had of some small symptoms have kind of come back. Nothing major. I'm still able to play piano pretty well for the most part, but it's clear that like there are some things that I'm doing. It's more than just overuse of my wrist. I think it's also it must have something to do with like my posture or something like that. So I started experimenting a little bit with like increasing my mouse sensitivity, so I'm not using my wrist as much, and I'm trying to I need to just try to have like a better posture to keep my fingers or my wrist a little more relaxed, and I'm gonna ice it more regularly. But anyways, I'm just kind of like rapid firing random thoughts in my brain. I've had 4 shots of espresso today, so I'm like ready to go. So why don't we isn't your mouse sense already super high? Yes. According to a lot of other people, that is the case. To me, it just feels normal, but whenever somebody comes into my studio space and they're like, what the hell is this sensitivity? But yeah, thanks for the encouragement, Delansky. Let's why don't we dive right in and see where things are at? I took my notepad out yesterday listening to this version, so let's take a little gander and see where things are at currently. And hopefully, let me just double check real quick that I need to double check that auto-tune is actually working in this project file. It should be, but I was having issues with it yesterday. Okay, we're back in action. I think. Let's take a listen.
understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Cool. Yeah, it's sounding pretty good. Still, I think to be really happy with it though, there's still a few things missing. So we're just gonna focus on knocking out things one at a time. Yeah, I think I was gonna try to figure out what kind of a fill to do here leading into the outro. So let me take another look at this section here. Kind of sloppy sounding right now. I think this can maybe fade a little bit. This could fade more gradually into silence. Do we want this layer in? I don't think this needs to be in there at that point. Kind of impact needs to happen there, but I'm not sure what. I could snag that intro impact sound. Where is that? In my country, it's evening already? Oh, word. What's up, Cynthia? Thanks for the compliment. I appreciate it. Let's see. Where is that impact sound? Yeah, this thing. And we'll throw that somewhere around here. I think maybe we remove the kick drum. Yeah, hold on. What is going on here? All right. Interestingly enough, I think we're actually, this is like a great, this project file is a great kind of litmus test for my new PC or my new Mac, I guess. Cause I'm still so used to saying that still. Never had a Mac as my main system. But I'm still at 64 samples. And this is like as big as my project files get. I'm at like, how many tracks am I? 180 tracks. Some of them are probably superfluous. So somewhere, I would say at least 150 tracks, maybe a little bit more. A lot of them are not flattened. And it's still doing pretty damn well. I am starting to notice some crackling. It's definitely getting to that point. Or I might need to increase the buffer rate, but that's pretty cool. That it can it can run that low. There we go, it's a little bit better. So I think here, oh wait, it's not this layer. Let me try something out here. I think this layer had this vocoder that sounded kind of cool in the beginning to tune the formant on it. So why don't we try to do something similar in the outro? Do something like this. Maybe the release slowly increases. And then maybe we get rid of a couple of these layers. Okay, that sounds a little bit more outro-y to me. just have one final hit there with the release maybe a bit higher on that last one. Cool. Okay. Let's now let's start from the beginning. What did I write there? Reduce layers. Yeah, it felt like maybe there's just a tiny bit too much going on in the intro. Yeah, I think I know what I'm thinking here. This it's literally just a couple of notes too much. This fill isn't sounding that bad, but something still feels a little off to me about it. When I'm not listening super closely, it's okay. But when I am paying closer attention, something doesn't feel quite right. Okay, yeah, there's quite a lot I still need to do in this section. The vocals are a bit sloppy timing-wise. The drums are sounding a little bit too mid-heavy. Just gonna throw a Pro Q on this kick here and see what happens when we scoop different frequency ranges.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Oh, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
We could potentially render this out. Let me copy this and we will just delete that stuff, separate it from the rest of the track, flatten this, and then we can just shorten that little bit of audio towards the tail end of those of this little fill here. Let's see. Yeah, let's just go like this.
Everything is outside of our everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is
I don't like that reverse. Let's just leave that. Okay, let's check out these vocals because I think there's
everything is outside of our understanding. 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 Everything is outside of our understanding everything. For understanding everything. Whoa, everything. Everything. Whoa, everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding 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 everything.
I think that sounds a little bit better. There's just kind of like some harshness up there.
Everything is
Now I think we gotta compensate and turn it up a little bit.
everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Yeah, there's still some sloppy timing going on, and I'm just gonna be lazy and probably warp it. Let's see.
Outside of our understanding outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Outside.
Yeah, so we can kind of see. I kind of very hastily did this. So, but I think the take is good enough for us to be able to commit to it and just try to get some warp markers in here and adjust the timing a little bit.
Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything.
I think we got to switch it to Complex Pro too. So it's these ones that get a little bit off center. So let's go like that.
Outside of our understanding everything. 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 Outside of our understanding everything.
Yeah, you can tell they're like slightly out of sync now. These takes, so
Understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of.
So we can copy this down to the pitch monster layer.
Outside of our understanding everything.
That's much better timing-wise.
Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything.
And I don't think you can tell it's being warped. That's one of the most important things because, yeah, if it was obvious it was getting warped, I would have to do another take.
Outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
We gotta do follow
Everything
Yo,
is outside of our understanding everything.
thank you for the follow, KDM.
Oh, everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything.
Okay, I was thinking about this little area.
New subscriber.
Very nice studio. Thank you so much. This is my house I'm in. Estian, what's up? Thank you so much for the sub. Hey, you gotta chill with the subs, my man. You've been gifting subs. Now you sub yourself. More like version 48. Yeah. I'm not alone. I feel like I'm I'm in friendly territory when people make jokes like that, because it is pretty accurate to say 48, not 4.8.
Everything.
Also, these so the violins in the track that I recorded, they sounded really cool. Format shifted and pitched down an octave. There's something about the texture that it brings out, and it sounds weird on its own, but it sounds cool in the context, I think.
Everything.
I've been throwing compactors all over this track, by the way. It's pretty crazy how many compactors are in this project file. And I just realized another compactor could be useful for the violins here. This is the main build snare roll, right around track 55. So I'm gonna actually have the volume, or that snare roll track in general, sidechain these very gently, the violins, because the violins are more of a, like, they've turned into more of like a background supporting texture with the synth. I like that, but I think I think I want the snare to have rank over the violins and the frequency range it's in. Compactor is so awesome. I love it. So I had this idea. Right now, the mix is sounding okay. Things are sounding pretty decent overall, but I had this thought that, like, maybe some kind of like some kind of like chugging staccato bass sound towards the end of some of these phrases would be cool. Maybe I could just copy this bass I made over there and try to alter it to fit that. I think I could do that. Let's just take everything in here except for maybe the verb and the filter, and see if we can do this. Let's see. Make sure to send it to sidechain. I'm not sure exactly what I'm hearing, but we also need to get rid of this pattern here. So let's take all of these and remove them. What's up, Essian? I got to teach you Vital one day, as well as make a cool spectral wavetable. Yeah, 100%. It's all Harmer vibes. I love Harmer. Haven't used it in years, though. But yeah, that would be awesome. I have experimented with Vital here and there. Obviously, all the standard kind of wavetable synthesis stuff applies there. So it feels very familiar. But yeah, it's never really been my, like, go to. I don't know that I've never found, for myself, for my workflow, I've never found use cases where I'm like, I'd much rather use Vital over Serum. You know, I'm just too used to Serum, so it's like I've never really found a particular use case. But probably don't need dimension for this. Okay, so 16ths. I'm trying to think about how to do this. Actually, I kind of like the idea of adding another diffuser in here. I don't even know if we need... Nah. Let's try to just start with this and see where we can throw this. Hold on, let me listen again. Okay, actually... Okay. Okay, obviously there's too much latency for me to get the timing right, but these are roughly the placements. So it'll be something like this. And then let's take another look here. Actually, yeah, I think that could add just a tiny bit extra variation in the low end. So I think it needs just little flourishes like that. Nothing crazy. At first, I thought that like if I tried to do stuff like that, it might detract from the main ARP, the lead ARP. But I think if we just get the balance right, it will add the right level of I don't know, variation to the base layer. Okay, so let's get another compactor. Every one of my streams is a ad for a compactor. It's pretty insane. Okay, so which layer is this? 117. We're gonna use a compactor to make space in the low end here. So let's take a look. I think I want it to like creep in a little bit more. So instead of just being like the same pluck essentially 4 times in a row, I think I wanted to maybe start a little bit lower on the cutoff and then gradually open up going into the downbeat. So let's try something like this. Okay. How does this sound? It's not bad. I'm gonna leave it for the time being, and then we'll come back to it later and see how we're feeling about it. I think next. I think we need some variation in the note length for the main lead, which will be tricky because it's a mix of MIDI and audio, and there's a lot of layers. So the main one is, which one is it? This one? Yeah. Okay, so a lazy way would be to try to do it with like the auto pan tremolo, but I have a feeling that probably won't work. You know what? That actually doesn't sound terrible. Yeah, I think right there, that could actually be really nice. So let's try to increase it going into the riff, and then we'll have it slap back down to 0 around here. And let's try to do something similar with this layer. Ah, wait. I just noticed something. Oh, I think I need to draw in an extra MIDI note here. And I need to get rid of this. Does that sound okay? I mean, this one's already very staccato, so we actually don't need to touch that. But this one, this is something that kind of pisses me off about the tremolo thing in Ableton, though. It's like, I don't know why or how, but I swear the timing, the precise timing of it seems to change even when the settings don't. Like, these should be perfectly in sync. I just copied over the exact same tremolo. Same rate, same amount, automation. The phase is the same, the shape is the same. I mean, it should all match, but it doesn't. And then you have to go in and kind of like mess with the phase until it lines up. So I was doing something similar down here with duck. So maybe we could keep the duck higher and then... Okay, that kind of gets the job done. I actually thought that was going to be more difficult. Let's see. Shaper box is just better, yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's part of the reason why I busted out duck, because I was like, man, why does this happen with tremolo? But I don't know, whatever. We're still getting the job done. Maybe it could start decreasing as the riff gets closer to the downbeat. I feel like that would be cool. Okay, that's a bit better. Let me add this tiny little automation here, around here. Hopefully this isn't too much staccato stuff, staccato variation. Let's take a little look at this in just a moment. I'm gonna try to match the automation for duck here as well. This is just applying basically the same 16th note pattern to another volume shaper. Okay, cool. This is starting to get a little more interesting. It was feeling very static. It still is a bit static, but you know, the main focus is the ARP. And I want it to stay that way. I don't want to add a bunch of crazy sound design because then it'll kind of remove that performability of the song. If I create too many like fills and edits and things, then it'll kind of defeat the purpose of the ARP. I won't be able to really perform the song. Ah, wait, I have an idea. Why don't we take this tremolo, copy it onto this kind of sustained, resonant, cut-off bass layer. Where is it? Yeah, right here. Throw it on here and try to see how that sounds. Gotta loop that real quick, see how the timing is. Okay, there we go. Now it's right. That's fine for now. Yo, TOD and B, thank you for the follow. Yeah. Also, sorry, I'm not really paying super close attention to the chat today. I'm gonna try to focus on getting this wrapped up. Maybe on stream. I don't know. I'll probably just keep working on this throughout the stream, and then when I'm done, I'll render a new version of it, and I'll take a break and listen to it tonight. And if it's sounding final, I shall submit it to DSPs. What is all this over here? This is unused stuff here, I think. I should probably start deleting these layers because I think the track is really close to being done. So if something's been muted this whole time, it can probably just go. So what do we have next? I think I fixed some things from the notes I wrote down here. So reduce, I did do this. Sloppy vocal timing, I did fix that at least around here. Let me take another look.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding.
maybe wish I performed this a little differently. Because I kind of want I think I want it as like an 8th note. Is outside. Is outside.
It's outside of our understanding everything. It's outside of everything. It's outside of our understanding everything. Everything. It's outside of our understanding everything. Everything. It's outside of our understanding. It's outside of our understanding everything. Oh, everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything.
It'd be cool if if this little vocal blip distorted a bit. I'm just gonna throw I'm gonna automate a fab filter, maybe like a Saturn. I'll put this before the delay.
Everything, 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 everything.
I don't want it to be too dramatic, so I'm toning down the mix. Let's throw it before the reverb.
Everything, everything, everything.
Whatever, let's just leave it like that for now. Let's look at the oh yeah, the vocal timing. So I think we fixed these vocals, which means we need to replace the ones over here. I think I can just straight up delete all of this because I'm not deleting any automation. And then we should be able to just copy this over. Where is it? Right here.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Oh, right. This MIDI needs to be different though. I forgot about that. Damn it. I don't remember what the exact MIDI was, but whatever. We'll figure it out.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Let's try that.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Okay, we need to quantize that because there's a lot of latency right now.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
And now let's add the other vocals in and see how that sounds.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
It's hard to find the right balance between the vocals and the pitch monster, cause
everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Outside of our understanding. Everything, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
I was thinking about maybe some format shifting on the natural layer, but
everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
I feel like moments like this in the song really just match the cold, wintry feeling of the art and the honestly just the vibe outside. I wish maybe this winter I'll do a POV Haywyre shovels snow stream. I'll just throw my iPhone on my forehead and you guys can watch me shovel some snow. I've got pretty good form, I'm not gonna lie. That's I'd rate myself somewhere around 7.5 out of 10 in snow shoveling form. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Everything.
Something is still bothering me with these vocals and I can't place it.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Maybe no falsetto here?
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
I kind of like it without the falsetto, actually.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
That's kind of nice for this section.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
This needs a lot of work. Hold on. This might be just a tiny bit too loud. I don't think we want claps. Where's that other snare roll? Maybe we try to use this here instead. Second drop, I don't know what to... Whatever. Just crazy synth stuff going on, which is fine. It carries the energy. And it's a nice variation, I think, compared to the first. And it makes it kind of drives home the whole VIP thing. It's just nice to kind of, like, expand on the original, but... I don't know. It's definitely... Totally forgot about this layer. Holy. Maybe we should copy that over into the second drop. It's definitely kind of like sound design wise, it's a little bit underwhelming, but it's partially because this song just leans so hard into the performance aspect. Oh yeah, okay, we can delete this layer. We could probably delete this, whatever this is, and what is this? I feel like I'm like that scene in Nightmare Before Christmas. What's this? What's this? A track I didn't use. What's this? A muted violin. Oh, yeah, I can delete this. What's this? Oh. Forgot about that. Yeah, that kind of didn't end up getting used. I kind of like the synth, though. Wire mouse, yeah. Okay. Do we save this patch? It's very simple. Wait, it's literally just saw waves. Okay. Yeah. We don't need to save that. What do we got here? I think we can probably get rid of this layer. Wait, actually, I'm curious about what was it doing over here? Maybe we try to bring some of that staccato E stuff back. Yeah, I could see how you'd consider it a remaster, but it is quite different than the original in a lot of ways. I mean it's obviously not halftime. It's all four to the floor. And And actually, I don't think I ended up using any sound design from the original. All the strings are new. I think the only thing I used from the original, aside like from the composition, obviously, is this. I think everything else is new.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Let's see. I think I'm not totally sure about this layer.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
It's kind of crazy how different a mix becomes once you're limiting it pretty significantly. I think I'm around like hold on. What are my LUFs? I don't really pay super close attention to that, but let's take a look. Whoa, hold on. Is it? I think we probably turned down the low end a tiny bit here. Okay. You can't really hear that distortion in the context of the mix, but it probably helps a little bit. But yeah, let's take a look. I'm pretty happy with that range. I feel like a lot of my music ends up around there. I feel like if I try to push it too much more, I end up losing a lot of the fidelity and dynamics.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
It's pretty insane though when you compare like my music to let's say like a track like something that's been like truly optimized for luffage.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
It's so crazy.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside.
Hold on, let's take a look at this offbeat hi-hat. Oh wow, okay. I was trying to think about like making it shorter somehow or automating. Maybe I could put Transient Master on here and actually, yeah, hold on, let's see.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
So I think I do want to add some kind of open hi-hat in here somewhere.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Where's that reversed reverb vocal? I think I I'm going to add the tremolo, the auto tremolo to this at like a really fast pace. Maybe have it decreasing going into that downbeat. I actually kind of like it staying kind of fast. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I'm not like completely sold on it. I don't want it to be too distracting, but it sounds kind of cool. I kind of like it.
Oh, everything is outside of our understanding. 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 Everything.
That's another thing I was noticing is that like the low end throughout the track is pretty consistent. I was trying to, I guess normally I try to make sure the most low end is in the drop, but I don't really know how important that is. I was kind of thinking about that recently. I don't know if you guys have strong feelings about that because like obviously a lot of the impact can come from low end, but I remember when what was the there was a double album that Skrillex came out with last year, and I was like looking at just for fun like through the low end information on some of the tracks, and it was like there was a ton of low end even in the intros and like early on and stuff, and it felt like more of the impact was actually from the mids. It's like the mids were getting the part of the mix that were increasing in presence the most in the drop. I don't know. Oh, it is a remix. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not sure. I think like, in this track right now, I haven't really been paying close attention to the low end, but I did see the waveform when I was like, I rendered it to listen to it, and I was looking at the waveform on Dropbox, which who knows how they determine what, their waveforms look like. But I did see that like volume wise, the intro is still a bit louder than the drop, which I don't want that. I don't think. I don't really know how much credence to give that kind of information, right? Like at the end of the day, like if it sounds good, it sounds good. But yeah, obviously you want to kind of like produce the track based on the more impactful moments. You want those to be the focal point.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Like, let's take a look at the mids for this intro section. Like that part of the the very beginning of the intro. Not a ton of mids. Let's go to the vocal section here. Definitely a lot more already. Mostly the drums, really. Another interesting thing I was thinking about, I was listening to the track on like my Dropbox render. on my phone, and like I swear that when you're on your phone, like if you listen to a song at like half volume, at least with iPhones, I don't know if it's different with other phones, but like if you're listening to it at around half volume, the dynamics sound pretty normal. Like if you're listening to a sketch you made, you know, it sounds kind of like how you'd expect it to sound. But then once you're pushing it to like 100%, I swear they're like applying some kind of compression or like limiting or something, because suddenly the dynamics sound really different in the song. Like transients are kind of smeared or like not as clean, and like I don't know if that's like how they try to like push the volume, but I wish they didn't do that. I feel like it's only with the speakers, I think, but yeah, it kind of bothers me. I do think the intro drums could maybe come down in the mids a little bit still. Okay, I think that sounds a little bit more reasonable. Okay, take a listen to this without the mid pass.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Hold on. We got a new follower. Yo, thank you for the follow. Synesthesia. It's an interesting way to spell that. I'm gonna get rid of this little vocal thing here.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Okay, it's getting closer. It's definitely getting closer. I'm trying to think of like something I could do. This sound doesn't feel quite interesting enough. I like the idea. I think I'm gonna keep it, but something, I don't know. I feel like the sound needs to change a little bit more towards the end, somehow, some way. Let's try to throw a comb on here, see what that sounds like. That sounds pretty cool, actually. Maybe we can have that. Maybe we can have that open up as it. And we can have the mix. subtle. It's not really doing much. Can experiment with a bode for a moment. I need to start experimenting with this and see how I can use it in my sound design, because I still have no idea. Whoa. That's interesting.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Maybe we can duplicate this and then have the second two here be slightly different. I'm doing pretty boring stuff here, but like... I just feel like there needs to be a tiny bit more variation. A wee bit.
Understanding everything, everything.
Okay, let's, I kind of wanted to see what an octave would sound like for this.
Everything, everything.
Let's throw a compactor on here. We'll grab the information from the main vocal and just kind of use that to sidechain this a tiny bit.
Everything, 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 everything.
I feel like there's room for maybe just a tiny little bit of low end, like, whoa, like right before the downbeat and the drop. Whoa. Yeah, hold on. Let me go to my sound design real quick. Try to throw one of these. Roll. This might be too far off in pitch, but let's try. Damn. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna work. Oh. That doesn't sound good. We could try to make something real quick. Let me see how my list is looking. So this vocal timing we fixed. Intro drums are not mid-heavy anymore. Intro bass fills, yeah, they're a little bit better. I wasn't really able to fix that, but whatever. Drop bass, we still got to do that. For the second drop lead layer could go staccato. We did do that. Drop drums might be too mid-heavy still. Better transition into second vocal section. I think we fixed that. Wait, actually, I don't know if we did. Vocals need more de-essing, yeah. Bridge drums, a little too mid-punchy. I think we fixed that. Second drop missing some elements. Yep. Increased bass cutoff. Lead too sloppy. Yep. Okay. Making some progress. Let's see. Trying to think about how to make this sound. Could just start with something simple like this. And add a tiny bit of distortion. And then we'll probably add some filter movement after. And then we'll probably fine-tune the well, yeah, let's try something small like that. I'll put that right here. Dun. Could probably push the distortion a bit more. I don't really want it to be like super audible, but it needs to be more than just a sine wave. And then I think, is that another compressor or something here? Maybe I want to experiment with this tremolo thing and throw it on that Reese and see if that sounds cool at all. In theory, it might be interesting to hear like basically all the elements matching that 16th note staccato, but I don't know if it'll probably won't sound good on the Reese though, right? Let's see. I mean, it's kind of cool, I guess. Let's leave it for now. Oh. Baby redeem? I see how it is. I see how it is. Let's bring him out. I actually have to hit the bathroom anyways. So I'm just gonna loop this for the time being, and we'll bust out the baby. Co-producer. Okay. Well, I have to make it up to you anyways, because he was too chilled out for me to bring him out the other day. So I gotta get him anyways, Junie. So give me a second here. I'll be back in a moment. I'll loop this.
outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
we're back. Baby, come here. Hi. Want to say something? No? Okay. Yeah, he was saying something about the... Baby was saying something about the snare being a little too... maybe a couple dB too loud, around 180 hertz or so. He might be right. Anyways, okay, that's the baby redeem. Back to work. I got a coffee here. Got a water. Let's get to it. So I think you guys just heard it again a second time through. My thinking is probably, if I were to guess, I think the second drop is the part that needs the most work. Oh, we're always staying hydrated. Or trying to, at least. I feel like I remember hearing that, like, for every ounce of coffee, you have to drink 2 ounces of water to make up for it. I don't know if there's any accuracy to that, but ever since I heard that, I always refill my water when I refill my coffee. But let's see. I was kind of curious about what these violins would sound like with the tremolo on it. Synced. Let's do 16ths. Kind of cool to hear them actually like evolving in the background. I don't know. I kind of like it. Hold on, let me automate it. I think it was roughly like this. What's up, Tiora? How's it going? Too aggressive on the this part, I don't know what's going on here. I think the drums, I think I want them to sound maybe a little bit more like the...
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is...
hold on. I don't know if I'm actually a fan of the edit I did to this bass here. I think I was trying to spice it up, but...
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, oh, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything, everything.
That little whoa is kind of weird. I don't know. Where is it? Yeah, this thing. Maybe we flatten it. Let's bounce it and then let's try to mess with it a little bit. I don't know. The Reese does sound kind of weird with this tremolo on it. Whatever. It is really weird remixing or, yeah, redoing, VIPing an old track because I don't know if I would make something like this today. Maybe. Maybe I would. I don't know. Yo, Ethan, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the comment and the sub. Um. Hmm. Let's take a look at the what is this utility? Oh, right, okay. So I'm boosting. Huh, I don't know. I'm kind of curious. Hold on. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this. I need to compare this briefly to the original out of curiosity. That's super interesting. Yeah. Sorry, I think like because it's routed to external out, I need to bypass my master chain to be able to hear the original without any effects. And I think for some reason that means it isn't routed. Wait, external out 910. Maybe now you guys would be able to hear it. Can you guys hear that? Just out of curiosity. Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of interesting comparing the style of the two. Crazy that that's 10 years ago. I definitely enjoy from a listening perspective. I do enjoy this version a bit better, but that's the whole point of doing a VIP. And if I couldn't improve on an idea that's 10 years old in some way or shape or form, then something is probably wrong. Even if it's all subjective, I definitely, I personally enjoy. If this feels a lot groovier to me, you know, I feel like you can kind of dance to this. Even if it is like really, even though there's a lot going on, I do feel like you can still kind of groove to this version. I remember listening to the original in bus to school on headphones. That is wild. Yeah, I have so many memories associated with this song. I still remember coming up with the melody on a plane. I was on a plane going to a show with my old manager, Perot, and I remember at the time I didn't really have a way to this was like, yeah, this was 10 years ago. I don't think I had a setup for like being able to work on the plane really. So I just wrote down stuff on paper, kind of like sheet music, makeshift sheet music. So I remember specifically doing that for Insight. And it made me really happy to see it come to life and to actually see people enjoy that track. But yeah, that was that was such a cool period of time, like that, for like the Haywyre project, because things were really starting to pick up, and I did my first Australia headline tour around that time too, and I will never forget. I think I was in Melbourne. Yeah, that's right, Melbourne, Australia. I think it was like my second show, and I was in this venue in a continent I'd never been to. And I was like 23, 20, yeah, I was 23 at the time. I'd come out with Insight recently, and I finished my set with that song, and everybody in the room was literally singing. Well, not everybody, but it felt like the entire room was singing the melody when I was playing it on the keyboard. It was really, really fucking cool. Da da da. That was just like, that is forever a that was a moment for me. It was like, holy shit. I remember just thinking to myself like, whoa, I think I can do this music thing full time, because like, damn, if I can go to a random ass continent and have people singing my melody back to me like this, like that, it just felt it was a boost, like a confidence boost for sure. Not in some like narcissistic way, but more of a like yeah, it just felt really encouraging. Yeah, it is a bit slower in tempo for sure. Art Nerd, you're right about that. Okay, let me bust out my notepad here. Where are we at? Drop drums to mid heavy. I think they're a bit better. I do think this section can be cool, a bit more interesting. Yeah, let's get the actually, this tremolo thing might help with making these a little bit punchier. Let's try to turn this to 100% and see what it sounds like. Ah, yeah. So I just had an idea. This project file is pretty chaotic, but I think some guitar power chords to help with this transition could be cool. Dun dun dun. So let's see if we can create a copy of this patch. We might actually just reload it. Yeah. And we can reintroduce. So I do like that. That first hit isn't super audible. I wonder if maybe we can reduce the sidechain dummy volume a tiny bit here.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Let's do it like this. We're going to switch over the kick to the intro kick as well.
Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Yeah, I think we want this low end to disappear a bit sooner there.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Maybe we can add I'm just gonna duplicate this. Out of curiosity, what if we added like a little harmony to that?
Everything.
It's out of tune a little bit, so we'll have to probably bounce it and then pitch it, but
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
some power chord chugs in that section could be kind of cool. But I'm getting distracted. Hold on, let me try to record this. It's really bothering me that it's out of tune. It's making me not like it.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Yeah, I do think some power chords could help, because this section does feel a little, not empty, but I just think that one more layer, famous last words, just one more layer. Love this piano break, thank you. I'm really enjoying it too. All right. You know what? I think I can maybe just... It's a little bit closer.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
You could actually throw a tuner on here. I'm kind of curious. Oh, so it goes from sharp to... Wait, so it's sharp. I thought it was flat for some reason. Yeah, okay. Let's record it like that and then flatten it.
Everything is outside.
Sounds pretty terrible. Let's check out the envelope real quick. I think I'm gonna get rid of this and replace it with...
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of.
So I think we could potentially filter this one a little bit.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
And then let's flatten this one and then maybe throw some effects on it. So I'm just gonna bounce it. I love the inclusion of all the different elements: strings, piano, guitar, wobble, bass. Thanks. It's probably overkill, but I think I just needed to find a way to make the track exciting to me again. Now, you know, I guess this is just what it turned into. A little bit of vintage verb. Add some compression after.
Everything is outside of our understanding.
I still don't like it, but let's just move on for now and we'll get back to it.
Outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
I do think just some quarter note plucks could be nice. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, this section, I still feel like the low end needs to come down on that little bass chug thing. It's just...
outside of her understanding everything.
Yeah, that fill is kind of not it going into this section, but let's get rid of that higher guitar part.
Everything is outside of her understanding everything. Everything is outside of her understanding everything.
I feel like I need a Pro Q that turns on specifically for this section on the vocals.
Everything is outside of her understanding everything. Outside of her understanding everything. Everything is 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 outside of her understanding everything. Everything. Everything is.
just doing it with piano instead would be better. I'm just gonna record it in there.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
There's tons of latency, but I'm gonna try to record a little flourish there.
Everything. Is outside of our understanding. Everything.
Not sure about this second drop, but I don't know. I feel like it just is what it is at this point. Let's see. We do have a slightly better transition here. I'm just trying to go through my notes again, see if there's anything else that we're missing. Drop bass, increase noise layer. Did I do that? I think I did that. I'm kind of curious. Let's compare the low end and the drop to some of the other areas in the track. Okay, interesting. I mean, it's actually very comparable to some of the other like moments that are also relatively high in energy. Pretty even throughout.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Oh, everything is outside of our understanding. Everything. Everything
there's something still kind of bothering me a little bit about the relationship between the kick and or maybe it's in the mids. We're getting close. I think there's a lot of good stuff going on. Not like super crazy about certain moments, but you know, it's just a VIP. I don't want to overthink it too much. Lord of the Hay, Realm of the Wire. Okay, let me look at this one more time. Increase noise layer. I mean, I think we made the drop bass more interesting, that's for sure, by adding those staccato moments. The drop drums, I don't know. I tried to fix it. I feel like I might take one final look at that. Second drop missing some elements. That might still be the case. Increase cutoff, we did that. Lead is still a bit sloppy, so let's fix that. And we did kind of fix the chug post-drop stuff, those sections. Wonder what this sounds like collapsed to mono. I'm curious. actually think I might be able to put some subtle compression on the sides. I think that might be nice. BXXL. Throw this on here. Let's take a look. Oh wow, they're I'm just kind of experimenting here a little bit. It's kind of crazy. I don't really know exactly how it presents the side signal in mono, but it's actually really helpful that it does that, I think. Huh, something sounds a little funky here. This transition.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
I think there might be some stereo.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Oh, everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything.
What if we throw a vocoder on the master for no reason? Maybe it could be used for certain sections to just create some random weirdness. Wait, actually, yeah, we could still use... I haven't tried this in a while. So we could actually send it some MIDI signal. Let's go to sends only. And let's take a look here. It's 3 serum. I have no idea what this is about to sound like. Sounded kind of cool there during that little fill. That's pretty interesting. I'm kind of, I just want to try this on the outro. Okay, I don't know if that has any real application in this project, but I just wanted to try it out. Let's get rid of that. Let's see. So, second drop missing some elements. Second drop lead too sloppy. Oh yeah, that's right. Let's take a look at this MIDI real quick. For the lead in the second drop. Very sloppy. Let's see. Is this a... I don't know if this can be quantized. This is where it gets sloppy, so maybe we can just... I'm so excited to eat Thanksgiving leftovers tonight. bit of weirdness, some distortion here. I don't know what that's... I don't know why that's happening. Oh, actually, wait, that might be from the... That's just the strings, I think. I think the key collection pack for this track will be pretty cool. I'm planning on doing a performance project file for this one where I'll have a normal pack for it as well, with just like sounds and presets and such. But I'm thinking of creating like a performance project file where basically if you download it, it'll have an Ableton project with the entire song minus the performance sounds. So that would be the piano, the lead synth, and the vocals. So those are all omitted. But then it comes with sheet music that you can read that will let you play basically what I'm playing and sing what I'm singing. If you want to, that is. I'm not, obviously I'm not. It's just an option. But I thought that'd be really cool. Yeah, well, I'm hoping to start doing that with future tracks. Maybe some past tracks as well. We shall see. But what am I doing? Was this outro sounding okay now? I think it's part of it is the velocity here that gets a little bit too high. For some reason these notes are like distorting up here. I don't really know why. Maybe I can turn down the, can probably delete everything else that's at the end here. Let's get rid of that. Maybe we just automate the volume of the strings to reduce a little bit more there. Actually, yeah, I think that's fine. Cool. So we got the outro fixed. Now the last question is this second drop. Is this still missing stuff? Because I don't know what to do with it. There it is. not super happy with that synth for this section. Where is that thing? I'm gonna be pretty tired of hearing this riff by the time I'm done with this. It's like one of the last things I need to do, I think. Then I think what I'm gonna do is just create a renderer, sit on it for a couple hours, take a break, and then maybe later today I'll do a final once-over, listen to it from beginning to end. And hopefully it'll just sound finished at that point. Actually, hold on. Interesting. I'm thinking maybe the dummy volume needs to be a little bit higher here. Let's try to increase the volume for the dummy sidechain. Feels like it's maybe missing some mids. I don't really feel great about doing this, but I want to try it anyway. Okay, why don't we just take a listen ourselves here for a moment, and then I think I'll probably wrap up and maybe just switch over to playing a little bit of piano to wrap up the stream.
understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
I just realized these little reverse things could be cool here as well.
Everything is outside.
Oh, yo, what's up, Esyan? Pro L settings might be weird. You got a question for me, Esyan? Yeah. Definitely not final, but it's getting there.
Everything is outside of everything is outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Oh, you hear clipping. That shouldn't be possible unless, actually, there might be something in console. Hold on. Oh yeah, I have a limiter that I can't hear that's, in a virtual send before my audio hits Twitch, because sometimes in project files, like newer ones, I don't have a limiter on the master yet. I just realized that. It shouldn't be doing anything crazy. It should be very, very subtle. But that shouldn't be clipping anything either.
Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
This part sounds a little strange. I don't know if the...
Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Yeah, actually, let's get rid of that pro key.
Everything is outside of our understanding outside of our understanding outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything.
Yeah, the vocals sound like they're over EQ'd a bit, but...
Outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything. Outside of our understanding everything. Everything is outside of our understanding everything.
Didn't really fit after all. Let's listen to that Impacts again with the increased dummy volume. I think I need to turn down the piano just a hair here, because when it's on its own, being smashed into the limiter, it's pretty... think it's around -7, which I feel like is okay, cool. I think that's fine for now. It's possible I'll do like one final mix down. There might be some little minor mix challenges left still, but I think it's pretty much finished. Let's go. All right, yeah, we'll just render this as 4.9. Oh, very close. I'm not calling it quite yet. I really don't think creatively there's much left for me to like pour into the song, so it's just maybe final tiny little 0.01% touches of mixing or something. But yeah, I'm gonna let this render and switch over to just playing some piano and hang in for a few minutes and chatting, and then I'm gonna eat some food because I have not eaten yet today. You guys know how it can be post Thanksgiving. You gotta like try to reset your hunger levels a little bit because it's like your stomach is expanding so much after those giant meals, and I'm like, hold up, I gotta I gotta fast a little bit or something. Turkey depression. With my visual art, I usually stare at it and fix up little nitpicky things. Yeah, totally. I can imagine that. Thanksgiving inflation. Indeed. But yeah, I'm pretty excited to try to get this this one out into the world. So the I don't know if you guys know this. Maybe I've mentioned this before, but the art for the Inside VIP was I mentioned it last stream. I think it's done by an artist who goes by his social media handles are Everyday Swiss. His name's Patrick, but he made the art for Twofold Part 1, and we just started working together again. He was kind of he dipped out of the freelance world for a while, and now he's back in it. And it kind of happened at a really awesome time because I was starting to look at some of these older projects, like Twofold and Insight, and I thought it'd be fun to try to like bring some of it back to life, and in some way, shape, or form. So with Insight, it turned into this VIP, and he said like, "Hey, why don't we try to work on some stuff together again?" Which the timing worked out great there. And so yeah, he did this, and then for the Twofold vinyl stuff, I don't want to share the designs for that quite yet. They're all finalized, but I feel like it's giving stuff away too early that doesn't need to be shared quite yet. But anyways, it's just cool to be working with him again. Yeah, he made the art for Back and Forth. He did Twofold Part 1. I think he did art on Sculpted. I don't think it went into the final art because at the time Monster Cat was still doing they had like a template, I think, with their logo and a color based on the genre. So I don't think there was much custom art quite yet. But yeah, Synergy. I'm pretty sure he did the original art for Synergy as well and stuff. But Martin, will we have this on MCAT? No, this is gonna be a solo release. Independent, I should say. The I'm not sure if any of you guys are super familiar with like how a lot of these agreements and contracts look that artists sign with labels, but particularly with labels like Monstercat that sign, like one track at a time. There's a licensing agreement that you step into, and then that lasts a certain amount of time. And for Insight, that came up, I think, I don't remember when exactly, but either way, the rights kind of came back into my possession. And yeah, so that means I will be releasing it independently. But yeah, it's going to be obviously released on all platforms you'd expect it to be on. I'm thinking I might do like I'm thinking of doing like a take of the full song and posting it to YouTube as like a casual, not like a music video with actual production behind it, but at least something where I can kind of flex and show off the performance aspect of the song a little bit, because that's such a huge part of this piece. I mean, it's one thing to see, like, obviously me sitting here clicking around, tweaking this sound and that sound, but at the end of the day, there's basically stuff happening from a performance aspect from the beginning to end. So, yeah, it was really important to me to kind of preserve that aspect of it. And yeah, I think I'll probably end up doing that. Do the callback to Inside Performance video. That the location for that was in Vancouver, and I'm pretty far away from Vancouver these days, so I can't go back to that location. But I will probably film something regardless. Probably just do something here in this studio space. Ask my fiance to film me. I'm gonna have to clean up because it's pretty chaotic in the background here. But I'm a fan of visualizers these days. That's fair. I think I'll still post it with a visualizer as well. Maybe I can ask Patrick to create like a really simple animation using this art, so I can post it as a visualizer. Otherwise, I'm sure I can create a video. But yeah, anyways, let me this is crazy though. Hold up. Wait. Look at this. 64 buffer size. That is it might not be a big deal to y'all, but listen. This is so awesome. I don't think I was paying closer attention to this with a Breakin' collab, but the buffer size being at 64 for a track that I'm literally like a hair's width away from releasing is so awesome. On my last system, I was definitely around 1,000 by the 1024 by the time I'm getting ready to render like the final version. 6 milliseconds of latency. That's pretty wild. Makes me happy. It makes me feel like I made a good choice getting a new system. 180 tracks, yeah, but it might be over. It might be inflated a bit. Like these two. Hold on, I could actually delete these. There might be a few other things. Like I think these were old. I don't always want to delete stuff that's muted because sometimes it's still doing something. But these, for example. Oh shit! Wait, no wonder that sounded off.
Everything is outside of our understanding. Everything.
That was the falsetto layer. I had that muted for no reason, and I was about to delete that. But yeah, sometimes muted layers are actually doing something. I don't think these are, though.
Everything.
That's just an old take. So we could delete these. Damn it. That means I have to render this again. I'm just going to take a quick look here and see what else I need to delete. Because, this is the good stuff. This is the real stuff people tune into my streams for, is watching me clean up my project files. I understand. I would want to watch it too. It's really it's something. This isn't doing anything, I don't think. Yeah, these are all these audio tracks. I don't really know what I'm doing to create these unused empty tracks like that, but the ghosts are definitely doing something, so those aren't getting deleted. These two, these aren't looking like they're doing anything. But everything else is looking like it has its place. What about these layers? These might be unused. Yeah, I'll delete these. Huh. They were all probably some bounced audio that I ended up not keeping. That would make sense. So let's delete these. I'm kind of curious. What are we at now? So now we're more like 155. That's a bit more reasonable. But yeah, okay, let's do another render of this. And overwrite that last one. Okay. All right, gang. I'm probably going to slowly wrap it up here. But I appreciate you guys coming to hang out early. I was kind of surprised. I thought I was going to be streaming to myself today. Amazing stream. Did you actually, you think you enjoyed the nitpicky process of kind of isolating frequency ranges and doing little tiny tweaks? I feel like it's boring to watch. Part of me, like, so one thing I still haven't figured out yet. I had I tried to work with a mastering engineer for one of my releases last year. What was it? Change Your Mind. And it was really interesting exporting everything to stems. And he was showing me his workflow a little bit. I'm not working with him. I haven't recently. So like Reverie, that Toby Fox remix, and this track, I'm doing it all myself. My thought process was like, it would be nice to when it comes to like something that's less creative in the process of producing and composing a song from scratch to finish, like that last like few percentage points where you're not really changing melodies or drum patterns and stuff like that. You're just kind of like tweaking amplitude and dynamics of really tiny little things in specific layers. Like at that point, if there's someone that can help me with that final stage, I would totally not be opposed to that. So that's why I was trying to experiment with finding someone that can help me with that. Because if I find someone that kind of fulfills that role, then I feel like it could speed up my process for releasing music. Especially when it's for bigger projects like albums, like this next album where I have, just a ton of music. It would shave off many hours that could be better spent for me elsewhere. But yeah, I just have never found, I don't think I found the right person quite yet to do that kind of stuff in the long term. Well, maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But for the time being, I'm okay with doing things myself. But Wait, why am I ranting about this? I forget where I was going with this, but yeah. Yeah, 99.9999. We're close. Not quite final bounce, but yeah, we're almost there. All right, y'all. I think I'm probably gonna call it here. But appreciate everyone hanging out today. I had a lot of fun trying to kind of like create the last little touches. This is basically what it's going to sound like when it's released in December. So, and the fact that it's coming out in winter, it just to me it feels like the perfect way to wrap up the year because the art is fitting. It's a nice little throwback to what I feel like is kind of a staple in the Haywyre catalog now. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me for today. Got a date locked in yet? Not an exact one, but I can say roughly, mid December. So it's for any of you that have released music through like and pushed it to DSPs and such, that you generally want to give them a full month. So that's part of the reason why I really needed to finish this ASAP, because I don't want there to be any mishaps. If I'm telling people, it's going to be out December 18th, and then some of these stores haven't had enough time to ingest the audio and it doesn't go live on the right date, then that's obviously an issue that I'm trying to avoid. So yeah, I think it'll be fine though. Anyways, y'all, thanks again. I really appreciate y'all hanging out, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And I'll be back on Tuesday for the first December stream. Maybe a POV shoveling stream. We'll see. But I should also shower probably. I look a little homeless right now, which is not a negative thing. Don't you guys ever wonder like what it would be like to be legitimately homeless? Like sometimes I think about how it could be really liberating to not like have belongings and possessions. I think a lot of people I've heard, I don't know if there's any merit to this, but I've heard that there's a good chunk of people that are intentionally homeless kind of partially because of that. Just like it kind of blows my mind sometimes when the seasons are changing and like, okay, yeah, it's time to put all the the winter clothes away and like got to move this around and put these things here. And I go down to the basement, I'm moving around Tupperware containers with all these things. I'm like, man, it's just crazy. Like how much stuff I have. Like I just have so many belongings, and yeah, I don't think that's a good thing necessarily to own a bunch of things, possessions. But anyways, why am I rambling about this? Move to a climate that doesn't have seasons. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Peace out, y'all.
Do you hear what I hear? care.